Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For this week I'm doing another special effects type of video because Halloween is kinda soon. So a little bit ago I did like a Pokemon ball like head wound thing, so I decided since that was a little bit more advanced, I would do some like super basic stuff for literally anyone could do it. And the best part is, since it's like bloody and messy, it doesn't really matter if it looks good or if you're good at makeup, like you'll be able to like do this all. So I did a like bruised black eye thing. I did some pretty easy stitches, a like scrapey type thing, and then like a gash going through my eyebrow. And then I just showed you some different like blood spatter techniques, I guess. So you could do all of this together, kind of like how I did, but I would recommend just doing like one or two because this is a little bit overboard, I think. And all of this stuff you could put like on your arms, your legs, and make it into like a whole thing. So let's just get started with the first technique. So the first step for our Bruse / black eye makeup is to take a normal cosmetic sponge like wedge and rip out little pieces from the like flat side with your fingernails just to make a bumpy texture so that when we stipple on the bruise it's uneven like a bruise would be. And then after that I'm taking a yellow cream paint and I'm just stippling that along my cheekbone and underneath my eyebrow, and then blending that out a little bit so it's not like a harsh edge. And then doing the same thing with red, just in pretty much the same spots. And then I brought the red a little bit more underneath my eye and farther up by my eyebrow because you want it to be kind of irregular with where the colors are so it looks more realistic. And then I used blue, and then I stippled that on the back of my hand to get off a little bit of the blue, and then I took some brown and I did the pretty much same steps. I just used a lot less of the blue than the yellow or the red. And then after that I put a lot kind of on the corner of my eye just so it looks a little bit sunken in right there. Now I'm taking a stippling sponge, which you can get at the Halloween store, and a little bit of a burgundy color, and I'm stippling that along my cheekbone as well. And this is to kind of look like the broken capillaries and just add a little bit different of a texture to our bruise. And because it's kind of harsh, we're taking the sponge again with a bone type of color and stippling that over the top to soften it. And then it's also going to kind of make your skin look a little bit swollen right by your cheekbone. And then you can keep playing around with it until you're happy with your bruise. The scrape is really easy. All you need is the stipple sponge again, and then a like thicker scab type blood by Ben Nye's, the one I prefer. And I just slid that along my cheek, and then I kind of roughed it up a little bit, and then I used just the very edge of the sponge and did it the other direction, so I had a skinnier scrape like going through the middle. And then you can just play around with it until you're happy with how your scrape looks. And then I took a little bit of brown cream paint just to kind of look like your scrape's a little bit dirty. And I love putting these on like your legs or arms or like your knees because those are common places that you would actually get a scrape like this. For the like cut going through the eyebrow, if you are putting it over your eyebrow like I am, I took a little bit of Ben Nye's nose and scar wax, which is just a wax that you can use to like build up parts of your face or wound. And with a little metal spatula, I'm smoothing that over top of my eyebrow. And this is just to cover up the hairs so that you can't see it like underneath the blood, because if you did cut open your eyebrow, there would not be hairs like inside of the cut. But you can skip this and just put the thick blood over top of your eyebrow, or you can just avoid it and put a scrape somewhere else. So to set that, I'm taking a little bit of translucent powder just to get away a lot of the stickiness that the nose and scar wax has. And then over the top, I'm just taking my Stippling sponge, or the cosmetic sponge, with a little bit of browny red colored cream paint, just to kind of bruise around that area. And then I'm blending it into my skin a little bit more with a really light cream. And now with the scab blood again, I'm taking the same spatula and I'm just putting a little bit of that onto the scar wax. And then you can just kind of use the edge of the spatula and create a indent through the wax to make it look kind of like your cut is going into your skin. And then I'm messing up the blood with my stipple sponge again, because it wouldn't be perfect if you just cut open your eyebrow. So to make these stitches, what you need is some cream paint again, and I just used this really tiny eyeliner brush, and I did 2 small lines of white cream. And you can't really see this in the end, so if you want to just do the brown line, that's fine. But I did a thin line of brown in between the 2 light white lines, and that's just to make the brown look like it's further into the skin, and then the white's kind of like the highlight. And I blended that with my finger. So on top of that, I just sponged on a little bit of a red burgundy color to make it look irritated around the area. And then I'm using some Prose-Aid on a Q-tip, and I'm just drawing a line across. If you wanted, you could use liquid latex or spirit gum. They both do the same sort of thing. I just prefer Prose-Aid, but it is a little bit harder to find. And then with these really fine tipped tweezers, I am taking little tiny pieces of cut up blue thread, and I'm sticking those just randomly, some crisscrossing, some by themselves along the stitches. And you can make these like threads go however you think looks the best. I like having them kind of messy and crisscrossed. After the Prose-Aid's dry and you like how your stitches look, you can take the brown cream paint again and just do a little tiny dot at the end of each piece of string, and this is going to make it look like it's actually poking down into your skin. And then you can leave it like that, or you can put some blood on there. So I just did a pretty thin line of blood, because if your skin was stitched together, you wouldn't have like a huge gaping cut. And if you want to add more blood, you can take a thinner type of runny blood and a really stiff brush and just flick that over your face with your thumb, and this makes it look really realistic, like you got splattered with actual blood. If you want to, you can also smear it around with your fingers, because it's not going to be perfect if you just got splattered. And then you can also use your stippling sponge if you want a little bit more control. I typically do both. If I'm doing like a really bloody makeup, I'll stipple some blood really close to the wound where I know I want it, and then I'll splatter a little bit around the rest of my face or wherever the wound is. And then, of course, like our other thing, you can use the stipple sponge and make little scrapes. And that is pretty much it for this video. So that is everything for this video. Definitely give it a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and do not forget to subscribe. If you want to see more Halloween type videos, you can leave some requests. I was thinking of doing something like not bloody next. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!